Peter. Today we're looking at the new Wellhouse Misano 5. Now this is a brand new Ford Transit custom base vehicle, very exciting, they don't come around that often, and a brand new conversion. Now you may have seen our video on the red model, that had barn doors and a few other differences. It was a pre-production model. This blue one is the first of the production models, so very exciting, new base vehicle, brand new conversion, and it's all production ready. So we'll dive into that and take a closer look. Now the headline figure is 70,000 gets you behind the wheel of one of these. That's the start price. Obviously this one has a few options, but not too many. This one's 73,000 because it's also fitted with an automatic gearbox, sat nav, and a heated steering wheel, which believe me is a lovely little option for winter. So without me waffling on about it too much, let's dive straight into it and show you some of the spec. There's an awful lot of kit as standard, and if you're looking at comparing it with other camper vans, bear in mind almost everything comes as standard on this model. There isn't actually that much on the options list, so loads of kit, loads of spec, all brand new. Let's take a closer look. So inside here, you could be fooled for thinking not a lot's changed, but bear with me because there's a lot going on under the skin. Now, obviously the cabinets look the same. Now this particular one obviously is a cream coloured option with wood effect worktops. Makes it light and airy and the whole van feels quite spacious. So let's look at some of the differences. So you've got lots of good storage in these lockers, and I really like the deep central slide out cutlery drawer. Big plus that. Always like a cutlery drawer me. Down below we've got the storage area that would normally house a cassette loo, sorry, a chemical loo, and yet another slide out drawer, so making great use of every available inch. You've got the slide out cabinet down here, good for all sorts of things, packet food, tins, dried goods, that kind of thing. And now this is one of the changes. There's a slide out fridge, it's a Vitrifrigo even, hard to say. 42 litres in capacity. It's got a freezer compartment and a shelf inside as well. So it's easy to access from, you know, grabbing a drink from the cab or if you're in the rear travel seats. And it sips electricity. It's a super frugal unit, that particular one. And one of the things under the skin is this model's fitted with a lithium battery as standard. So now these are quite expensive bits of kit. I've just bought one in my own camper van, game changer. The advantages are they last a lot longer and they have a constant level of power. They also recharge really fast, very durable, lasts a long time. So that's a big plus. That comes as standard under the skin on this model. It links to a touchscreen control panel. Now this one also has the new Wellhouse touchscreen, so if I just poke the button at the bottom, you can see you've got lighting controls. Obviously these all switch on and off. And there's lots of really nice lighting details on this model, as you can see. And if I'll just go back to the home page, so you've got power options, it tells you what's going on with all the batteries. You can scroll through it this way, I believe, as well, so that's water levels, environment, so obviously interior, temperature 40 degrees, I don't think so, I wish it was. Oh no, it's just corrected itself, 25. It must have a bit of heating on. Mind you, I've had the heating of the van on, that's why that's a bit warmer. So this is your Webasto diesel heating setting. Nice and easy to use. Obviously you can just pop that on if you need it, and it rotates back round, and you can obviously go to the home page and then you can press that to switch it off. So all very intuitive and easy. Now the controls at the top, you've got your fridge control, various light switches, again they activate once your main power control's on, and down at the bottom a couple of USBs, a 12-volt socket and a 240 mains socket that obviously only works when you're on a mains hookup. So yeah, nice, clear, intuitive system fitted to the new Transit Custom. On the worktop itself, if I lift this up, you'll also notice it's got the usual flip-up sink, but this one also has hot water. There's a Webasto hot water system supplied as standard on this model. So that's a real big plus. And I'll show you when we get to the rear, it also links to a rinsing shower. So you can also shower off, rinse off boots, wet dogs, that kind of thing. But that's fitted as standard. So lots of good kit under the skin on the new Misano 5. Now, the other very important point to make about this vehicle is it's got a fully M1 pull tested rear travel seat. This is on sliding rails. It slides backwards and forwards, so you can either have more lounge space, as we've got it set up here, or push it all the way forward and get maximum storage space for loading in the back. We'll show you that in a bit. So M1 pull testing is very important. It means it's a safety tested seat, and they're actually tested in the Transit chassis. So it's not some sort of generic test, it applies to this vehicle. So that's a real important safety point. While we're on safety, you've got three-point seat belts, adjustable headrests. I can never adjust them down. Push the thing, oh, I've done it. Gold star for me. Now the other thing it's got is Isofix brackets on this seat. These allow child seats to be safely and securely clicked into them, and it's the safest way to transport kids. So that's a big plus for families. It's really useful having this flexible sliding seat system, and it converts to a bed really easily, as I shall demonstrate. So just lift the base up and over, pull this lever, drop the backrest down, and obviously it's a good 6 foot long bed, and you sleep on the reverse side, which is nicely padded. You could probably put a mattress topper on here if you wanted, but it's optional. If you like a firmer bed base, I personally probably wouldn't bother. And it's a really wide bed. There's lots of room because there's a padded infill on this side. I'll show you that from a different camera angle in a minute. But really impressive bed. All these habitation windows have privacy glass in them as well, so it keeps it cool in summer and stops prying eyes seeing all your belongings. And they've got the new blind system as well, so how easy is that to seal out the light? Blackout blinds too, so that's a really thoughtful touch. It doesn't get much easier than that, and they don't rattle either, so that is a big plus for this season. Now you've got good access to the tambour door with the bed down, and there's also a second locker at the back which has all the fuse box in, the consumer unit. Let's imagine it's at night and a fuse pops or the consumer unit trips. Well, it's hardly going to disturb your sleep very much, is it, flicking that back on? No scrabbling about with cabinets or mucking around with torches. And it's equally easy to fold back up, as I shall now demonstrate. So the only thing to remember when you're putting it back is to lift up the seatbelt catches and just hold them out of the way while you drop the bed base back. But yeah, very straightforward to do, and makes the vehicle very easy to live with, which is always a key consideration with camper vans. Now up top, you'll see the new pop-top roof. We've got mesh windows to both sides. Just sit that up again. So that's great in summer, adds a bit of cross ventilation. Then at the front, we've got a vinyl screen. So plenty of light gets flooded into this vehicle, and I'll just come around here. Hopefully you can see the roof bed. We've got a safety net to prevent kids falling out, and it's on beach slats, so a sprung base just gives a bit of air ventilation underneath your mattress, and then you've got a padded memory foam mattress on top. So great space, big enough for 2 adults, and it's quite easy to get up to as well. This one's relatively low, I would have said, compared to some of them, so ideal if you don't want to have to clamber up into a great big loft. Obviously it lifts neatly out of the way on gas struts, and then you've got a padded roof lining. Lighting, just move that out of the way. We've got these handy stalk lights, LED stalk lights. Press them on, press them off, and they've even got USB charging points in them. And there's 2 of them, so you get 1 for each side. Now, I've mentioned before that I really do like the rear styling of the new Transit Custom. These retro lights are very handsome and quite a funky thing. And it's worth noting that all production models come with a tailgate. I think the red one had barn doors, being an early one. So this is the first production ready one. It's got the tailgate, it's got the small alloy wheels, the standard factory alloys. You'll also notice, obviously it's been fitted with a bike rack for 2 bikes. That's a really nice option to have. And the 150 watt solar panel on the roof, which is a flush fitting unit and standard on these. Again, that helps top up the lithium battery, so a big plus. So let's just take a look in the back. Now, just while I'm opening this up, there's the reversing camera here. So that links to the display screen on this particular model, and it links to the sat-nav screen. So, very good. Now, again, lots of headroom. I'm 6'2" and I'm nowhere near the top of the tailgate, so that's really good. Good shelter. You could use this as a sort of outdoor seat, this rear section, but obviously it's a little bit tight on headroom, so only really works for smaller, lighter people or kids. If you lift it up, that's your dining table and the pole in the hole. There's a tripod leg. I've not found it in this van, but obviously they get supplied with that. Now you'll also notice for the roof bed access, you've got this ladder. It takes about 4 inches of boot depth, so you might want to leave that at home. But they do come fitted as standard, and they're good for kids to access the roof bed, or perhaps people with limited mobility. But you might just choose to leave that at home if you want the extra storage space. Now, speaking of storage space, there's quite a lot as standard. I mean, I can sort of sit in here and have a nice shelter. Oh yeah, have a bit of a padded seat here. That'd be quite useful for sporting events. But normally, obviously, you're going to hide all your kit in here, and this is a useful parcel shelf. Perhaps you want to put your bedding on there. That's probably the best idea for that. But lots of storage options and lots of space. And if you want more space, allow me to demonstrate the benefit of the sliding seat. So I've just released the latches on the base, and then we can just push this whole system as far forward as you want it. But as you can see, vast amount of storage space. You could probably put a mountain bike in here, perhaps a compact kayak, outdoor furniture, whatever you want. Even use it for a tip run. It's a wipe clean floor too, so you're easy enough to clean up any spills. Very practical having this amount of space, and it makes a sliding seat system all the more worthwhile. So great option as standard. Now, while we're here in the back, I'll just show you a few other details. Now, it's got a Gaslow system, so it runs on LPG and you can access the tanks in there. It's a metal sealed locker, so nice and safe, meets all the gas regs. Now, this is another standard bit of kit. I'll just grab the hose from in here and chuck that out the way. So this is your outdoor water tap. simply plug it in, turn it on, and press the hose button. Now this is great for rinsing off wetsuits, wet dogs, hiking gear, boots, that sort of thing. Or you can just use it as a shower if you want to, you come out of the sea, want to get the salt water off you, ideal. So a really nice extra feature. And you've got cold and hot water, so it's got a hot water system fitted as standard to this van, so no more shivering as you rinse off. Big plus. And as we mentioned before, this has your consumer unit in and all your fuses, so nice and easy to get at everything. Now, one thing I did notice is under this hatch here, you lift it up and it just pops out. As you can see down here, I'll just rotate round, that you unscrew that to get at your spare wheel. Just thought I should mention that, it could be useful to owners down the line. Another really cool feature about Misano 5 is this lovely convenient service point. So you've got your freshwater fill tank there and your mains hookup point there. Hookup point? What's a hookup point? But I like that. So the convenient height, and it just looks neat and very, very factory. Very good. Down here you'll just notice your drain point and these lovely new graphics. Smart. Very nice indeed. And we'll just pop around here so you can see a bit more of the light detail. As you can see, the illuminated, they were just on then, weren't they? Or is it just the angle? But yeah, what a great looking vehicle. Now, another good feature on this model is how easy the cab seats are to swivel round. So I'll just demonstrate that for you. So just slide the seat forward, grab the latch and rotate the passenger seat, and then just slide it back. So very, very easy. There's nothing getting in the way of the passenger seat at all. The driver's seat is slightly fiddlier, but still really good. So I'll just nip round there and just swivel that one for you. Now, on the driver's seat swivel, I find it easiest to just loosen the steering wheel so you can move that out of the way. Put the back forward a bit, release the latch, and just twizzle it round, and then I'll just come round the other side. So it's easiest if you just pull the seat forward and then turn it. So, but it's still really easy to rotate, and part of that is because you haven't got a handbrake in the way. It's completely flat floor on this new Ford as well, so there's no bumps or lumps in the central area, and it's all flush with the rear. So we'll come on to that. That's got all sorts of other benefits. But look at the space I have. I mean, I've got loads of arm room. I like the way they cut this cabinet back, so I'm not banging my elbow on it. And I've still got storage for bits and bobs in there, and enough worktop for a cup of tea, coffee, whatever. So very practical. And something's going on here. I don't know if this is some sort of TARDIS, or it's just the whiteboarding, or they've done some clever nip and tucking of the interior, but it feels really spacious and airy in here. So yeah, there's lots to like, and I really like the way the seats, the cab seats, integrate with the lounge and really become part of the lounge. Now, the travel seat, again, it's miles back. I haven't put it all the way back, it's in its normal bed position, but we've got loads of room to the cabinets and loads of floor space. So they've done a lot of trickery with this van to make it feel more spacious, and it really does work. And you know, look at that. Couldn't be much easier to get a cold drink, could it? So a lot to like here. So let's take a closer look at the cab. All right, let's pop that steering wheel back into my favourite position. Now, we've covered the cab on other models in a lot more detail, so I'm not going to go too mad here, but suffice it to say, really nice clean layout, and this flat floor, and even the Ford original floor is particularly flat, and it just goes so nicely into the rear section that it makes moving between the two areas really easy. And there's no handbrake to trip over. And on automatics, they don't have a bulbous centre console. So turning your legs round to move into the back is far easier. So it makes it a very easy vehicle to live with and particularly suitable for camper van conversion. Part of the reason it's so convenient is you've got the electronic handbrake, which obviously removes all the floor gubbins. So now this particular one has a few options. It's got the automatic gearbox, I mentioned the flush console before, the sat-nav screen, which links to your reversing camera, and also, a little nice touch this, the heated steering wheel. Great in winter, no need for gloves. I'm a big fan of those. Now in terms of cab practicality, this new generation has a lot of niceties. You've got lots of cup holders. There's one at the top of the dash on both sides, and obviously in the doors. The doors are shelved, lots of storage. Cup holder, a little storage area here. This is on the automatic one, it's worth noting. The manual's slightly different. 2 lots of USBs, USB-A and USB-C, a 12-volt socket, and lots of storage. There's a storage bin at the top, this glove box, which looks quite shallow, but actually goes quite a way back. Another glove box underneath. So lots of nice little details. Obviously it's great to drive, it's more refined. We'll get on the road and talk about that in a minute. But before I get there, I just want to show you some of the spec details in the cab on this particular one. It's worth going over because it's got some nice little bits and bobs. So let's have a closer look at that. So we've got the electronic handbrake as we mentioned before. Now I'll just get this screen off. This screen is the optional sat-nav. I'll just go back to the home page. I'm on the home page and close. I'll show you some of the features. So one of the things I really like, which I'll mention on the road, is the drive modes. So you've got your normal drive mode for day to day, eco, pretty self-explanatory, and my personal favourite, the sport mode, which just sharpens up the throttle response and makes the whole vehicle. I keep calling it a car because it is so car-like, but it makes the whole vehicle feel a lot tighter and sharper, and it's good fun to drive in that. Now you've also got slippery modes for when it's a bit wet and slimy, and an extra setting if you do any towing. Now that's really useful if you tow a car and a trailer or any other toys, boats. The bottom section doesn't rotate, so if you want to put your heated seats on, you can just put them straight on there without having to worry about things too much. And the same goes for the air conditioning. If you need your front screen clearing, just press the front screen clear. The bottom layer doesn't rotate. Obviously you've got air conditioning, put the fan up for that. Pretty self-explanatory stuff. I'll just switch that off because we don't really need it today. Nice and intuitive to use. Now this is the extra feature on this vehicle as well, I've just noticed. So if I poke that, it's just got one setting, on or off. So this is my heated steering wheel. Oh yeah, you can feel that straight away. Oh, that's nice. Oh, I like that option. Is it heated at the top? Why is it heated? Is it heated everywhere? Yeah, it is. Oh, that's a toasty option, that. Oh, I'm having that off. I'm having that on the way home. I like that. It's a bit cold today, so great. So all your lighting controls down here, all pretty intuitive. Automatic lights is what I'd leave it set to. Here's all your mirror controls and your electric windows. And as I mentioned before, the mirrors, they have this lower section which is wide angle, so really nice and clear. Now inside, this heated steering wheel is fantastic. So we've got all the various audio controls on the steering wheel, together with all your cruise controls on this side. Obviously it's got an airbag in the middle, and I'll just rotate it so you can see a bit better. I don't know if you can see it over there. We've got the stalk over here, and if you push it down, that just changes to drive on the control screen, the info screen, and if you set it to reverse, as you can see, you get a nice clear reversing camera and a display of your parking sensors, which becomes audible as you near objects. So very practical. Now the layout of the dash takes a little bit of getting used to, because you haven't got traditional dials. So you've got a bar graph here for the amount of fuel you've got left. Now this is telling me we've got 103 miles left. And over here, nicely, we've got a temperature gauge, which I appreciate. Not all vans have that. Now obviously there's lots of settings and functionality you can rotate around. So you've got various trip computers, trip computer 1, let's go down, trip computer 2, and fuel economy. Now this vehicle's been running around, so don't worry too much about that one. I think it'll do better than that on a run. And over on this side, this stalk has all your wiper controls, lighting controls for dip to main beam, as well as your rear wash wipe and indicators. So there's a lot going on that stalk. But overall, very clear and clean vehicle to live with. And to switch it off, just press the button. Now I've noticed when you do press that button, it automatically goes into park on the obviously on the automatic vehicles. So that saves you having to press P on the end of the stalk all the time. You can just switch the engine off and it will do that, but you still need to remember to put the park brake on. Now the great thing about the new Transit Custom is it has driving modes which are easy to access. So if I push the button here, we've seen this statically. I'm in normal mode now. There's also an eco mode which optimises the air conditioning and the throttle response to, as it says, save fuel. You've also got one for slippery conditions, again pretty obvious what that does, and one for towing. So if you tow regularly, or perhaps you've got a car trailer, a boat, a small trailer you take to the tip, whatever, put that on, it just adds stability. My favourite though is the sport setting. Now this sharpens up the throttle response, and I think it stiffens up the steering. It just makes the steering feel a little bit different. These models have electric power steering, I believe, and it really does give it a nice feel. I'm just going to chuck it round this roundabout, and yeah, it just has a nice feel. Now this particular one, it's the 136 PS. It's roughly equivalent to 136 horsepower. So it's 136 PS and it's linked to the automatic gearbox. Now that was an option on this particular model, and it's an option I'd tick. It's well worth having. I'm a big fan of automatic gearboxes in general. They just make vehicles a lot easier to drive. A lot of the Japanese versions they sell also come with automatic gearboxes because the Japanese are big fans of them. Just turn off up here. And it gives you one less thing to worry about. You're not worrying about what gear you're in. If you live in a city centre, again, it's a benefit. But some people prefer a manual gearbox, and I think it saves you about 1,400 quid if you want the manual. It's a pleasure to use, it really is. I'm not sure which particular type this is, whether it's a torque converter automatic or a robotised manual, but I'll put a graphic up to let you know which one it is. It doesn't particularly matter. I couldn't honestly tell you from the driver's seat, so it's more for technical interest. Now we're on quite a twisty road here. Now this isn't the sort of road you want to chuck a camper van around. And I think most people don't drive like that. But the point to make is, it's a pleasure to drive. And I think that makes a difference. When you're touring around the country, not all vans drive the same. But this new Ford base vehicle with its independent suspension, with its well-judged damping rates, it's a delight to drive. I can't really fault it. It's my new favourite base vehicle. And we're coming up to a bit of a corner here, so I'm little dab of brakes, turn in, lovely. Really, really pleasant. So I've just popped it on the normal mode, which has loosened up the steering a bit and made it a bit easier. For day-to-day driving or town centre driving, that's probably the setting you're going to want. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a complete clean sheet design for Ford, and the key differences are the independent rear suspension. So what's the benefit of that? Well, it means the two rear wheels aren't connected together, so the action of one wheel doesn't affect the other wheel. As it says, they're completely independent. So if you go over a bump on one side, it won't transmit through to the other side, as it would do on a normal beam or trailing arm type design. Now, the reason they've done independent on this, because the platform is shared with VW. So yes, there will be a VW option, but underneath it's the same vehicle, and it's made at Ford's plant in Turkey, which is a very modern, state-of-the-art plant. So, but the reason they've done the reason they've done the independent suspension is so that it allows provision for a four-wheel drive model. So there will be a four-wheel drive version available, as well as the manuals, automatics, and various different engine options, outputs. I'll put a graphic up for the different ones, as well as an electric model. So lots of options when it comes to the new Transit Custom. If you're coming from something like a sporty BMW SUV into a camper van and it's your daily driver, you might appreciate being able to have a little bit of fun on the twisty roads, far more than you'd expect for a camper van. It's one of the real benefits of this vehicle. It can change how it drives to suit the driver. So a lot of adjustment to it, which is really interesting and works well on the new Transit Custom. So overall, a fantastic package, a great base vehicle. I really like the new Transit Custom. It's one of my favourites, and a delicious top spec Wellhouse conversion. What's not to like?